So today I'm going to go over my abandoned projects bin. A lot of these projects were abandoned by other people, but a few of them were abandoned by me. So let's start with one that I don't know that it was ever really abandoned so much as my mom started this project and didn't finish it. Or maybe she cut it out for me because she was cutting out herself one. I'm not sure. But these are all kind of curves and squares that are used to make a specific quilt. And you use whatever background fabric you want. And these are the petals, for lack of a better phrase. Those have been cut out for a while. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'll make them into that quilt at some point. Now we're going to get into what I call dead lady fabric or dead lady projects. These specifically came from, I think my grandmother made these, but it's unclear if she made them or if someone else in my line made them. It might have been her mother or mother-in-law that made them. I don't really know, but I got them from her and she is dead. So these are flowers. Most of these have already been sewn down. This one, I think the center still needs sewn down, but everything else is sewn. And you can see kind of as I go through, you'll notice most of them have some amount of part that's been sewn down, but not necessarily everything. I also find it interesting that she has sewn, it's like she sewed every single petal or something. If you look at the back, I don't know, it's very weird. But the center has been basted, so I can just sew the centers down. But they're all a little bit different. This one, none of the petals have been sewn down. So it's been basted. Everything is basted, but nothing has been sewn except the stem. So I will probably make this into a quilt sometime soon. The real problem I have is what it's sewn onto is not what I would sew something onto, but it's what they're on. So I'll probably end up using it. I might make this into a quilt. Like I said, I might actually make this into project bags or something like that. We'll see. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 of those, which is not like the best number to make into a quilt. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing with those. Not sure. Here's some more dead lady projects here. This came, someone gave our guild, or maybe our guild purchased, I'm not really sure. Our guild acquired some, basically the entire fabric estate of someone, or sewing estate. And a lot of it we got to go through as a guild and kind of take pieces that we wanted. And I took this stack of already made blocks. There's not a lot of repeats from a block perspective. There is a decent number of repeats from a fabric perspective. So these are already kind of ready to be sewn together. It would be pretty scrappy. And I don't think I would do any sashing. I just need to sit down and like chain piece these together. I do think I'm going to kind of randomize it a little bit and also turn them opposite directions as I piece them. I don't want to piece them this way. So yeah, let's see how many of these I have and what kind of fabrics there are. So There are 79 of them. Again, it's an interesting combination or number, but there are 79 of them. We'll see. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of randomize them because I don't want, for example, the same block. And again, there's not that many repeats, right? It's not like there's 7 of this block, but there are 2 of this block and I don't want them next to each other. So I'll probably randomize them a bit before I start sewing them together, but that should be a quick project. I might take it to a sew day. Again, it's just chain piecing. There's not like a lot of thought that I have to go into to get this one made. So that's the next abandoned project. Another Dead Lady project. This one actually came again from my familial line somewhere. And these are just blocks of embroidery. And I'm going to do a close-up of a couple of these in a second. But we've got Raggedy Ann and Andy. And then this is the one that I'm just so impressed by, right? There's some basic embroidery, and then there's this satin stitch that is amazing. But my favorite part are these French knots. Look, I mean, it is dense. I mean, it sticks off the fabric. It is so cool. What am I doing with this? I have no idea. Because, like I said, I only have 3 that are fully completed. Then I have this duck that's just part of a duck. I need to finish his beak and his eye and part of his... This is going to be the hard part. I need to finish part of his jacket or vest. But I didn't do this, so I don't actually know what color that is. I'm going to have to figure that out. That might be a little bit more difficult. I think I'll do his beak and his feet in orange color, and then his eye I'll probably do just a black outline. We'll see. Then, and this might be hard to see because they are, ironed on kind of patterns, but there's a dog here that hasn't been done at all. There's a dancing poodle. Again, hasn't even been started. And there is a bunny, also not started. So eventually when I decide to take maybe a break from some cross stitch and would rather have some embroidery, I might do this. And then once they're created, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I might make them into bags. I might do something else with them. I don't know. And then we have a few, this is a whole story. So again, I got a lot of this from my grandmother before she died, but she has been dead for well over a decade now, maybe a decade and a half. She had, let me knock my camera around. She had a bunch of Dresden plates. And actually, let's see if I can move us back a little bit so you can see more of the Dresden plate at once. I don't know if that's actually going to work. Not really. Well, as good as it gets. This is a Dresden plate that she had. Now, for some of these Dresden plates, I sewed them onto a background and I gave them to my siblings and my aunts, like her children, my grandmother's children. And, my mom wanted a wall hanging. My sister wanted to frame it. My other sister wanted a pillowcase, a pillow cover, those sorts of things. So I made a bunch, and then I still had a ton of leftover Dresden plates. Here's the problem. What I realized as I was doing it is that, first of all, a lot of the Dresden plates didn't even have the centers on them, which isn't inherently a problem, but they were also a little wonky. They weren't perfect, and it's why I think my grandmother probably didn't make them, but they weren't perfect, so they wouldn't lay flat. And I was going to need kind of deconstruct it a little bit, maybe take out one or, take the seam in a little bit on a few of them to make it lay flat. And I really just kind of gave up at that point because what I had originally thought I was going to do with all of these was I was going to sew them onto this yellow fabric. And I bought so much of this yellow fabric. You can see I've started sewing this one on. This is the basting stitch, but you can actually see I have sewn onto it. And I was going to sew them on to this and then make a quilt out of that. Well, because of the wonkiness of a lot of them, again, I kind of abandoned this project, but I do have a ton that actually are on the yellow background. So I actually have a good number of them on the yellow background. Let's see. And if I sewed these 3 on, I'd have 12 that were on yellow backgrounds. And I could do something with them. I could still make them into a quilt of some kind, maybe just as a bottom border, or maybe just do a very plain quilt and use them at the bottom or just on 2 sides or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. I got pretty discouraged with the amount of work that was going to be required, so I stopped trying. I will get back to this one just because I've made so much progress, right? And I have so much yellow fabric I need to do it. Couple of other things. This is again from that estate stash. It was a pre-made block. I didn't make this, but it's a orphan block. So my orphan blocks also live in the abandoned projects bin. Another orphan block, this one I did make. I was trying to figure some things out. And I actually made this one too big for the project that I was doing. And so I didn't end up using it at all. And now I just have an orphan block. Nothing wrong with orphan blocks. Someday I'll put them all together. Okay, now we're getting in again to something from my grandmother. And yet again, it could be from my great-grandmother of some kind. Notice this fabric right here. And then there are more Dresden plates, but these ones are pointy. And again, like some of these just, I can't get them to lay flat. Others have already been either pinned or placed or even basted onto the background fabric. This one hasn't, but again, it's just, this one is laying nice and flat. But I have a bunch of these. It's a center, missed one. And again, I don't really know what to do with them because they're in different states of completion. This one's partially sewn on, has a center. This one isn't sewn on, has a center. I keep hitting my camera. Stay, please. Okay, there we go. This one is clearly been used up for some other purpose. So what am I going to do with that? I don't know. There's just, this is the state of things when other people abandon projects and you take them. They are going to be in a wide variety of states of finish. So I'm still not sure what I'm doing with these. I will likely make them into project bags. So I might... And when I sew them on, I'm machine stitching them on. I'm not hand stitching these ones down. But that's another pile of dead lady fabric. And then, yeah, then I have one last project to show off. And, oh, I missed one. Here's another orphan block. That one's from one of the dead ladies. Then I have a project. I signed up for kind of a round robin, not really a round robin, a bee to do a midnight garden quilt, which is really kind of a choose your own adventure, make some blocks that fit the theme. And I asked for the backgrounds to be purple and not a single person made a purple background, which isn't inherently bad, but it just means how I was going to finish it isn't going to work. So here's some of these blocks. I haven't even taken the papers out. It's a nice little firefly. This might be my favorite block. I say that, but like I do love all of them. This rain cloud. This is very home to me. a gray cloud, some rain. Yeah, it's great. There's a nice star block, right? So there's some really great blocks. This little gnome is just too fun. They're really great blocks. And I'm not actually like offended that people didn't choose the background color that I wanted. Like, it's going to be fine. It's just, I had a vision that for these that isn't going to work now, which again, not inherently a giant problem, just something I'm going to have to figure out. I'll probably do something more in the navy background area, but these flower blocks are so cool. Oh, here's another fun one. I have a pet hedgehog, so that's really cute. I love this one. It's like the word bloom. I don't know if I can get it all in the camera at the same time, but the word bloom. I love this one. Another firefly. Oh, I love this flower, this like drooping coneflower situation. Another firefly, which I love. I really do think these are so fun. And you'll notice that most of these are paper piece, like foundation paper piece, and I love it. I think they've done beautiful job. Everyone that sent something to me did a beautiful job. I did also have a little trouble because a couple of the people that were in my batch didn't do it, and I was pretty mad about it. This is the one I made for myself. Yeah, which I actually love this block, but again, it's the only purple. So I'm probably just going to make this into a mini quilt and let it be. Like, that's just going to be my mini quilt. And I actually really like it. I'm pretty proud of it. It's pretty cute. I love the fabrics I chose for the mushroom and the slug. Like, it's a very fun block. But it doesn't go with all of the blacks that were sent from other people. Oh, one person sent me a nice purple background. Oh, I love this star. Just look how fun those fabrics are. And, and then someone, I don't remember who, sent just a bunch of little half square triangle blocks that, in purples and blacks, and they're so cute. I actually really want to take these and kind of make an edging or something around either this block or the snail block and make that mini quilt. So that project was abandoned. Again, not forever, just when I decide that I want to be creative and crazy and do kind of a, by the seat of your pants kind of quilt, I will lay it all out on a design board or on the ground, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do for these blocks. I do love them. They're beautiful. Again, I appreciated everyone who made me a block. I feel like I sound like I'm complaining. I'm not complaining. I love them. It just changed my vision. And so now I have to figure out kind of how I want things arranged on that quilt and how big I want to make it and things like that. So that's the last of my projects that are considered abandoned projects. And they all live in a box together. And someday, like I said, I will kind of go back to each of them and do something. I actually think that maybe in 2027, I'm going to try to either put them all on a wheel or choose one a month. Or choose one a month that I can work on. Do you have abandoned projects that you don't know what to do with? How would you handle those? What do you think I should do?